Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something really interesting. It's this intersection of traditional methods and modern craft. We're focusing on a group called Yashi Melts.
Okay.
I pulled some insights from Nug Notes. They do really specialized work on cultivation, and it uncovers some, well, surprising facts. It shows how even something like cannabis cultivation can tap into really ancient practices, deep intention.
Yeah, it's fascinating because it really pushes back against the typical industrial way of doing things we see so much of. It's all about returning to these sort of foundational principles rooted in nature. It's a really strong counter-narrative.
Right.
In a world that's getting more and more mechanized, a great example of how older wisdom can actually unlock new levels of quality and connection, too.
Okay, right. Let's unpack this. So it starts with Amanda, who's really the force behind Yashi Melts. Her background wasn't even initially in cannabis. It was deep in herbalism, plant medicine, regenerative farming. And the notes say that by 2014, she was already doing closed-loop cultivation. So how does that background, adopting things like no-till and living soil early on at their Garden of Greece with Kush Kirk, how did that set them apart?
Oh, that's absolutely crucial. Her starting point wasn't the industry standard, it was broader plant science, a
Yeah.
totally different perspective. Their methods, this no-till, DEM Pure, sun-grown approach, it emphasizes minimal soil disturbance, purity using natural sunlight. They were all about living soil, compost teas, cover crops, literally following the microbes, not chasing trends. And this idea of feeding the soil, it's not just making the plant healthy, it's foundational. It shows that real authenticity is deep processes. They don't just make a better product, it's a whole different experience. It massively impacts the final quality, the flavor.
Right, that distinction seems central, which brings us to their philosophy. Melt dreams, not machines. So while others might be using hydrocarbons, chasing bigger yields, Yashi Melts was focused on chasing flavor with cold water. What does that commitment to cold water extraction really tell us?
It points to an unwavering dedication to purity, to expression. Their process is just incredibly meticulous. Every single jar is single source grown, frozen, and washed on site. This isn't about churning things out fast. It's about patient work, getting the resin just right, these curated drops that hit soul first. It's really a rejection of industrial shortcuts, prioritizing the plant's natural integrity above everything else.
And that dedication, it also led them back to reviving temple balls.
Yeah.
The full-spec, hand-rolled hash meant for joints, pipes, and rituals. They said it wasn't about cloud chasing, it was connection chasing.
Yeah.
How did they blend that ancient style with new tech so well?
Well, it really shows their deep grasp of the craft. They honed in on mastering detailed microns and dialing in the terps, the terpenes, basically perfecting the microscopic details and the aromatic profiles. By applying modern know-how to this ancient method, they really elevated the whole experience. It became less about just consuming and more, well, ritualistic, fostering that deeper connection for people.
And building on that meticulous approach, they even had their own in-house breeding program, not just buying seeds, but actively hunting cultivars. Things like Strawguava crosses, Miami Vice, Illmatic, looking specifically for those wild smells and, crucially, heavy wash characteristics. But that quality control, if it didn't melt, it didn't make the cut, that must have been tough, right? For consistency, for yield.
Oh, absolutely. That single criterion, if it didn't melt, it's incredibly telling. It shows this uncompromising vision. They knew not every plant is right for solventless, and they were willing to just not use anything that didn't meet their really high melt standards. Focusing on wash characteristics means the absolute best concentrate, even if yields are lower. It's a pretty bold stance in an industry often pushing for volume. Purity and the experience come first.
So this careful cultivation, it's not just for a better product, it links to this bigger idea of mindful consumption. Yashi Melts actually said, "Hash is how I pray." That's profound. How does an idea like that shift consumption into something, well, spiritual?
It completely reframes it, doesn't it? By saying, hash is how I pray, they're elevating the act, making solventless consumption a kind of spiritual practice, putting consciousness over cloud, as they put it. It's not just a product. It's a medium for reflection, for connection to the plant, the earth, yourself. It suggests that even in consumption, you can find deep intention, reverence almost.
And they didn't just stay on the farm. By 2019, they were on the This Smoking Jacket podcast, connecting regenerative farming with high-grade solventless. Then by 2022, they were teaching guiding dab meditations, talking about soil as ceremony at big events like Masters of Resin in NYC.
Yeah, summing up their whole ethos. They really operate Low noise, high signal, it's a farm-to-fingerprint approach,
Mhm.
all about skill up, not scale up.
Mm.
Their guiding principle seems crystal clear. Soil is sacred, solventless is ceremony. And the result of all that focus, people said their rosin tasted like focus.
Hmm.
It's just a powerful statement about how intention shapes the final thing you experience.
It's quite a journey, from herbal roots right through to these hash rows. Yashi Melts seems to weave together ancient wisdom, scientific precision, and just this profound intention in their craft.
Absolutely. So it leaves you thinking, right, what can we all learn about mindful production, mindful consumption, from a philosophy that sees a product not just as stuff to sell, but as a soulful, solventless ceremony, one that's deeply tied to the land, to the craft itself. It really makes you question what true value is in the things we consume.